What's up, YouTube? Hope everyone's doing good. I'm going to share the stream and then we'll get started. Well, unfortunately, something has come up with Applebee's. I know I've kind of been talking about it over the past few weeks about what's been going on. If you guys don't know, I was going to go back. From what I was told, pretty much everyone was cool with it. Now I'm being told that they're not. So, long story short, I'm going to get uh, HR involved because this is ridiculous. And the only reason why they're not hiring me back is because I am Catholic. That's the bottom line. If I was not Catholic, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. Um, so I'm going to get them involved. So let's just say war is on the horizon. So, uh, meanwhile, I'm looking for another job. I don't know. This job thing is ridiculous. I'm getting sick of it. It's really starting to piss me off. Ultimately, it depresses me, though. I've said that before. You know, when you're basically being treated like this, like, your religion is what's holding you back. It's not a good feeling to have. I shouldn't have to feel like that in 2023, but I do. So I don't feel like going over the story again. If you want to know the story, you can just watch the previous live stream. I've talked about it on other live streams, but it's not fun at all. It's not fun to basically want to go to confession and practice your religion. And it doesn't have to be confession. It can be anything. Um, welcome back, Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, welcome back. Well, as I was saying, um, I was y- I was going to go back to Applebee's, and because I thought we got it worked out, they were going to get me back, but they're not letting me come back, even though they've let other people come back that quote unquote walked out. So
You
I'm
should
gonna get HR
sue.
involved.
You should sue for religious discrimination.
Um, I don't know if I'll sue them. I just want to contact HR and see what they'll say. Um, yeah,
People have sued for much more ridiculous reasons. I'm just saying.
I know,
You never
but
know.
well, we're gonna talk with an attorney first and see what we can do.
Yeah,
And
I think they can. They're required to make reasonable religious accommodations because there
they
was a
are.
case. There was a case. I remember this from my business law class that they forced an employee to work on a Sunday, and they could have made accommodations for him to work a different day, and made they had enough employees so that they could cycle the rotation so that he could get Sunday off, and they didn't do that specifically because they wanted to harm him, or they didn't wanted to prevent him from going to church or whatever, and he won. So
Well, not necessarily. No.
why?
Well, no, I'm responding to this comment here. Marcel said HR is usually there to protect the company, not the employee.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I should probably not argue with a lawyer on this. But
No, all employees are technically there for the company, um, whether you know it or
right, they're
not.
part of the company.
Yeah, but they're not designed to look out for other employees. It's not the way it works. It's not the way it's designed.
Um, I know nothing's gonna come out of it. I mean, I pray something does. I pray something happens to them. I'm gonna get their number because I called up there today and I asked them for their number, the HR number, and she's like, "I don't have it. Ask the general manager." How do you not have it? You're a manager there. It's all over the walls in that place.
Yeah,
It's like, how do you
there's usually there's something in the break room where it has to show like the minimum wage, and it has to show
yeah,
HR's contact information, and there's some bare minimum requirements. It At least in Florida, I'm pretty sure it's the
yeah,
same in
it's like that
Texas.
here too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember. So, it's it's ridiculous and, shouldn't have to be going through this.
But let me ask you this: I thought jobs were super prevalent now because they're trying to hire like McDonald's employees for $20 an hour, at least where I live. Um, like they can't get enough workers, college kids, high school kids, that sort of thing. Like those jobs are super prevalent. Is that the case? Did you find that to be the case or not really?
Yeah, they're prevalent, but no one wants to hire me because of my schedule.
Oh, I see. Hmm.
Yeah, so, um, well, I feel like I can kind of get somewhere because essentially, look, my brother still works there, and I have not had a chance to ask them this yet, but I would love to ask the general manager, what makes you think my brother won't do what I did? And his answer should be, well, he's not religious. He doesn't go to confession. That's all I need to hear. So, and it doesn't matter because the reason that I'm being told is one of the managers doesn't think we should be hiring back former employees that quote unquote walked out. If that was the case, they recently rehired a cook that walked out months ago and they hired him back. So why can't they hire me back? And then there's also another employee there that literally threatened bodily harm. He's still working there.
Hmm.
So I
Well,
think
it's up
I
to
don't
them
look, I
who
don't
the
expect to go anywhere because yeah, business rights, we know. But like, come on, I'm at least gonna try.
yeah, it's always worth a shot. But it's up to them who they want to rehire and not hire. I mean, they don't have to take a consistent stance on consistently hiring back employees and then not hiring you. Like they can do that if they want to. It's
Well,
their
if they're not gonna hire me back for religious reasons, which is how I see it, then
well, that's something you have to prove, I guess.
oh, I can prove it. Trust me.
Yeah.
I can prove it. I have text messages. I can prove it.
Well, got a case, then get a good lawyer like Marcel. I think
No, it's
Marcel's a
just
lawyer.
ridiculous, man.
I'm not sure he practices in that area, but
I mean, when I go to my boss, I say, "Can I please leave a little early so I can go to confession?" And he basically said, "No, that's not right." So,
yeah, reasonable accommodations is, I think, the requirement that they have to adhere to.
well, the funny part is I only worked that shift as a favor because nobody else wanted to do it. So, but I was promised accommodations. Plus, I had accommodations beforehand. They had accommodated me with that. So, I don't know, man.
So, do they just offer confession at a certain time during the week, or
Yeah, yeah.
because at my church you can make an appointment, like there's a set time, but you can also make an appointment with the priest,
Yeah,
and he can.
we can make appointments too, but I've never thought I needed to do that. Shouldn't have to do that.
Oh,
So,
well, in my experience, they're very forthcoming. They're happy to do it if they can. If they're not
well, yeah, my church is the same
doing it.
way. I mean,
Yeah.
I asked my priest because there was one time where I was asking about it, and I asked Father, I said, can I make it an appointment anytime? He basically said, yeah, anytime you need to, as long as it, works with his schedule, of course.
Right.
So,
Sometimes they're in the hospital or in hospice or
Right.
something crazy. Yeah, given last rites, that takes priority typically.
Marcel, I don't know if you're still watching, but if you're still watching, do you want to call sometime so maybe I can get your advice? Because I completely forgot that you're a freaking lawyer. You know about this stuff. So I'd love your advice. I would really like it. Do you think we can set up a time and maybe talk about it?
Marcel's given me advice, but his area of practice is limited. Not in that not in that area, but he does know some things in other areas. I don't want to dox him too much.
That's right. I forget. The laws are different.
Yeah, Canadian law.
Well, the thing is with Texas, we are we're called a fire at will state. So essentially, an
They call it
employer
free
could
free to
fire,
work. They call it free to work, but it's really free to fire.
right? And so they can fire an employee for whatever reason. Now, the catch is if they don't have significant number of write-ups before the fire or before the termination for the same offense, which I don't have, then that person can file for unemployment and the company have to pay for unemployment. Now, I can't file for unemployment because I've already worked at somewhere else since then. I work at IHOP briefly. So I can't, which is fine, but that's how it works in Texas. So, but you can't fire at will over someone's religion or their race or whatever. I mean, that's
No, not
discrimination.
for specific. Yeah, yeah. If it was that, you have to prove that's what it is. But they wouldn't give you a termination slip and say you're fired because you're Catholic. Something similar.
Yeah, and that's
They wouldn't do
probably
that.
where they would be able to. That's probably where the catch would be because technically they didn't fire me for that. They fired me for quote unquote job abandonment.
Right.
But
If you walked out, it would be pretty hard, I think, to prove anything. That's just despite anything else that happens. Like if you walked off the job, you said, I'm gone. That's pretty damning. Unfortunately, this is just my opinion. I don't know if that's what happened, but um, I think I remember
well,
you
I
said
don't really
something.
consider what I did a walkout because I think I had no choice but to leave my job because of if I stayed and finished my work, I would have missed confession. So it's not like it was a choice for me. It was a choice, but it was a choice that obviously I would have, I'm going to choose my religion over my job. So I don't know.
Well, I can't, like at my job, I can't say, oh, I need to go to confession right now, and like they don't have to let me go in that instance because that's not a reasonable accommodation. Um, if you have to go, then it has to be planned out within a reasonable amount of time.
Well, that's the thing because all my bosses by that it's not like this is like a all of a sudden thing. No, they know I do this every Saturday. This is not new to
Oh,
them.
okay, okay.
So yeah, I would get in that instance, if you just out of the blue, yeah. But this is not new to them. So they know that this is what I do every Saturday. It's not a surprise.
Okay, then maybe you have a case then if that was arranged ahead of time and that was typical for your schedule and they didn't let you go. Yeah.
So lesson learned is this: don't try and be a leader even though you want to. Because I was a leader there. I was one of the lead servers. I mean, I hate to say, I'm not trying to brag, but I was. I was one of the lead trainers too. I was certified to train people. So it's like, why would you want to lose someone like that?
Yeah.
But because ultimately, this could have been worked out in like one conversation. I could have explained to them what happened, and if they don't want me back, and I don't know why. That's the thing. They don't want me back, and I don't know why. So,
Well, I wouldn't dwell on it too much. I mean, if you got a case, go for it. But I would just move on and look for another job personally. Um,
I'm
because
looking for another job, but I'm gonna make sure that if they have broken the law, that they're gonna get punished for it.
well, sometimes people break the law and get away for it. They get away with it. That's just the way it goes.
Well, I'm gonna try and make sure that that doesn't happen.
Particularly with financial crimes. I have a theory that there's more financial crimes that go on than any other type of crime, and most of them don't get caught or followed up on.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what's going on, and I'm not really too happy with it, but it is what it is.
So Kanye West got reinstated on Twitter or X.
Why?
I guess they're letting everybody back on.
Bro is like, I hope he retracted all those statements he made about Jews.
I think they're going a
Yeah,
little.
I gotta go real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. I'll entertain our viewers if there are any. So, chat, I got a trivia question, Star Wars trivia question. Besides humans and Wookiees, of the three original movies, we're talking A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, which species appears in all three of them, besides humans and Wookiees? Those are the two obvious ones. I can't pull up the chat, so I won't know till Lance gets back who has the correct answer. But that's today's trivia question.
All right, I'm back.
So, Lance, maybe you know the answer to the trivia question.
The trivia question. What question?
So, Lance says, or Marcel says it's Gan. No, that's incorrect. So the question is: out of the three original movies, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, which species appears in all three of those films? And it's not humans and not Wookiees. Those are the two obvious ones. Which third species appears in all three? Hint: there's a. This is probably a hint that gives it away too much, but this species appeared prominently in the Knights of the Old Republic comic series.
That's a good question. Well, it's not Twi'leks because those made their debut in Return of the Jedi. Uh,
It's Snivian, yes, yes. Marcel got it.
Sivian? Okay. I was wanting to say Trandoshan, but I don't think they were in. Yeah, they were in all three too. Trandoshans are in the background of in the cantina scene. And then obviously Bosk and Empire, and then I think Bosk is in Return of the Jedi too.
I don't know if that's a Trandoshan in the Mos Eisley Cantina. I know what you're talking about. There's a lizard-looking character in
Yeah,
there,
they look. It
but
looks like a Trandoshan.
But
Here, I'm looking it up right now.
I got this trivia question from an official source, so if it turns out to be wrong, I'm going to be disappointed.
Okay, so they were in Return of the Jedi. They were in Empire. And they were not in A New Hope. Damn.
Yeah, because I think there's a CCG card of that character, and he's not a Trandoshan. I forget his name. He's an effect character in the premiere set, but there is a lizard in the cantina. So there's a Snivian in the cantina. There's a Snivian on Cloud City, and there's also a Snivian in Jabba's palace. I don't know if he's shown, like, you got to get the widescreen version of Empire Strikes Back to actually see him, but he's just in like one still shot, blink and you miss him in Empire Strikes Back.
Does what's his name? My English, the reptilian character is from the Cantina. Is he in here? In Mos Eisley Cantina, the Tales book, Tales from Mos Eisley Cantina? Does he have a story?
I don't think so. In fact, I'm going to look up his card because I can't remember his name.
Because I've always thought that was a Trand. It looks just like a Trandoshan.
Forget if he's dark side or light side.
Is he the only? Is that the only species that shows up in all three, other than
So
like humans and Wookiees?
that's not a Transocean. It's a Saurin, Saurin, and its name is boy, I don't know if Calfas. It's Cytor Calfas.
Hmm.
It says deploy on your non-warrior character, except droids, to give that character warrior the weapon skill, or deploy on your warrior. That character is +1, power +1.
Wait, what's the character's name?
SAI apostrophe TOR, Cytor Calfas, KALFAS.
Oh, okay. See, he looks just like a Trandoshan, bro.
Yeah, kind
Are they
of,
related to Trandoshans?
probably. There's supposed to be some lore that Trandoshans are a rare species. Like there's not that many of them.
Oh, they're a Trandoshan subspecies. So they're reptilian like the mainline Trandoshans of Trandoshan the Sauron, share knobby, scaly skin. They're from the planet Dirkteal in the Kastalar sector of the Kashyyyk region.
Hmm.
So technically, I wasn't wrong.
Technically not, but according to my official source, which I can't remember where I got it from, that was a official trivia question.
Interesting. Wonder what other species there could be. Um, I don't know.
I think that's it. It's supposed to be all of them. I think for a lot of those, like in the Jabba's palace scene, they reused a lot of the costumes. Obviously, like Greedo's there. I mean, it's not Greedo because he's dead, but it's a Rodian wearing his clothes. I think they named him Beto or something. So some relative of Greedo.
That's funny. That's cool though. wonder where that retcon comes from, because it's obvious. It is a retcon. Let's find it. Um, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But that would have been my guess. Would be Trandoshan.
It's a good guess, especially with the retcon. But Saurons are really Trandoshan subspecies.
It's like they almost had to be. They look just like Trandoshans. I mean, they're not. They're like smaller. They're shorter than Trandoshans. They're like the bonobos of Trandoshans. How about that?
I can see that. Yeah.
And they worked for the Separatists. That's interesting. I'm gonna play some. I want to see if I can get Empire at War to share my screen while I play Empire at War. Playing a Fall of the Republic.
Should play
I'm not very good at
Star
it.
Wars CCG on GIMP, but I'm
What's
on
up?
my phone. You should play Star Wars CCG on GIMP. I can show you how to play introductory game, but I'm not on my computer. I'm on my phone, so I can't do it.
Sure, you can show me. What is it? Wait, what is it again?
So there's a platform on GEMP. If you just look up GIMP, there's a way you could play the card game online. They have all the cards programmed into the system, and you have full access to like all the library of cards, all the formats, and it's set to where you don't need to play out the rules. The system plays it for you, so you can't play it incorrectly because the game's kind of complicated. It was a very early card game. There's a lot of different rules, a lot of different scenarios as far as like moving and deploying and battling.
Site?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh.
you'd create a login, and you have access to all the cards. Like anybody can play. But if you just want
Well, I've never played a Star Wars card game in my life.
to, well, I can show you some of the cards if you want to. If you go back to the site and click on the bottom where the card packs are, I can kind of show you
Alright.
how it works.
Login is invalid. Login must be between 2 to 10 characters long.
No, you don't even need
Must
to
be.
log in. You don't even need to log in. I'll make it real simple.
Well, I logged in.
Okay, even better.
What am I playing?
So
Oh,
just go to the login page
whoops, whoops, whoops.
where you were.
Wait, let me show you. I'm on here now.
Oh my gosh, that's small. I can't see it. It's on my phone. But go back to the login page. Just go to GIMP home, whatever the home page is. Log out.
Okay.
Yeah. So that you see those packs on the bottom. Those are
Yeah.
all the classic sets. So go to the blue one, special edition in the middle. The
This
blue
one?
one between the orange one and the green one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, so that's special edition. So what this set, it's like 2.0 of the card game. It made it a little bit easier to play. because it introduces objective cards. So if you scroll down to objectives, like you're in the character section right now. So if you just scroll down, well, there's General McQuarrie, Ralph McQuarrie's character.
I'm at objective here.
Okay. Yep. So click on, let's see, what's a good one? Hidden base on
This
on
one?
the light side. Yeah. Yeah. Hidden base. Yeah. So this is a good light side objective. So basically, what it does is in the early section of the game, it's very hard to deploy locations, but this one allows you to deploy systems out of your deck using this objective, and you can deploy as many as you want. And the objective is to have your opponent try to find your hidden base, right? Or try to not find your hidden base. So once you have like 3 on the field, you can flip it, and you get some status bonuses, right? And you're if you go to the other side of it, so don't click on hidden base. Hit on what's the back side of it? That's so small I can barely read it. Systems will slip through your fingers.
I'm looking.
It's right
Oh
next.
wait, are you looking for? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's your bonus. So when this side up, you can draw a card from your force pile, and you get some like status bonuses. And meanwhile, your opponent's like constantly trying to probe your base, trying to find it. So you have an extra copy of it. You'll be deploying systems every turn, and if they finally find it, then it's flipped over. But that's basically how that works, and it kind of speeds up the game because you're able to deploy locations faster out of your deck rather than having to find it naturally. And ISB operations, they have dark side objectives there too. Rail tier operations. The dark side in this game has a little bit more power. They have a little bit more. How would I explain it? They have more strategies they could deploy. Light side is pretty much fixed on like echo base operations. Throne Remains is a big deck in the classic format, and then Hidden Base is also a big one. But
Here we all do operative.
yeah, operatives.
Are there any EU characters in this? Probably not.
I mean, sort of. There's Bolo is the special edition. These are mostly like background characters from the films. Expanded universe characters. There's a few of them. There's Thrawn. There's Mara Jade. They're mostly in the Reflections 2 set.
I know this is EU. Boston Spy.
Yeah.
It's definitely EU. Bishig operative.
Special edition mainly focuses on the 1997 version of the film that has extra CGI characters, but they have all the X-Wing pilots and basically every character you can think of.
Are these just card games?
Yeah, that's just the card game. So they made virtual sets. Still to this day, they're trying to like keep the game fresh by constantly coming out with new cards. I don't prefer the new cards because I like the old style. There's something about this game that just kind of reminds me of being a younger fan, and reminds me of all the conventions that this game was played at and stuff. So, but
Dang, this is pretty active too. Last post was a couple days ago.
oh yeah, there's tons of people that play it.
Actually, no, it was today.
Yeah.
A few hours ago.
Yeah, this is big. I mean, people travel for tournaments, and they're constantly refreshing the game. They got new cards based on like the Mandalorian and the new Disney shows.
Ugh.
Unfortunately, they kind of stay away from the EU now, but there's a lot to it. I personally prefer playing with the older cards only. So it's like Premiere to Death Star 2 or Premiere to Reflections 2. That's sort of the classic era that I'm accustomed to, and a lot of people like my age kind of prefer that too.
Yeah.
Wildix Blix,
I like
he's
Kraken. They
a
got
what?
Kraken, bro.
Yeah, they got cracking. So like,
Psycho Selchu.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So Wildix Blix, whatever. He's a West End Games character.
Yeah, I know he designed a bunch of Republic ships, and then he designed a bunch of Imperial ships, and then he defected. And his daughter still worked for the Empire,
Right. And
even after his defection.
isn't his daughter's name Lyra the same from or it's pretty close to like the Rogue One character.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds right.
But yeah, they got Major Turfinar, who's in the X-wing books, X-wing comics. There, Major Turfinar.
I wonder if Sate Pestage is here.
He is. So Janice is one of the
There's Gerard.
yeah. Jerjerrod pulls out the Death Star locations. Janice is one of the best characters because he cycles cards for the dark side. And Mirax in Reflections 2 has the same ability for the light side.
Interesting. General Calrissian. Coruscant. What's on Coruscant? New Gunray.
Yeah, Coruscant's all episode 1. So basically, Reflections 2, that has most of the EU characters. After Reflections 2, they kind of jumped into episode 1. So Tatooine has a couple cards from the classic era, but it's mainly episode 1 cards. Coruscant's entirely episode 1, except for a few, and then Theed's also episode 1.
Actually, including spoiler alert, I guess, for Scott. Do you know about Nick's Tales from the Boonta Eve Classic book that he's putting together?
No,
Or
is that a
was
fan
his
fiction?
online name is Ken Palpatine, but his real name is Nick.
Is that a fan fiction
It's a,
book?
yeah, it's a fan book that I'm a part of. It's me. I know Marcel's writing a story in it. Brennan's writing a story in it. Titus is writing a story in it. Who else is writing a story in that? Uh, Tuck is writing a story in it. Bunch of us are. But I'm writing a story. I'm writing one too with about Gardula, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
actually including Snuva in it from
How about
Shadows of the Empire
that's interesting.
because we don't really know much about him when he was younger during because he would have been alive by this. This takes place in between episodes 1 and 2. This story I'm writing, so he would have been alive. He would have been young, well, a lot younger than what he was, or ended up, what he was in Shadows, but. Because
Sure.
I'm like, man, I gotta find a bounty because I'm basically writing a gang war between Gardula the Hutt and her daughter. Because there was in the bounty hunter game, Gardula is thrown into a mouth of a crate dragon by Jango Fett, but by the Clone Wars, the Dave Filoni's Clone Wars, she's still alive and she's still um controlling her empire. But that also contradicts Last of the Jedi, not Last of the Jedi, Jedi Quest, that has Deca the Hutt ruling Gardula's empire. So clearly something happened there where Gardula takes back her empire from Deca. And this is kind of the story is Gardula, she gets approached by Kratos from the Bounty Hunter Guild, and they end up making an agreement to help each other out. So Deca's like, well, who in the hell am I gonna who am I gonna hire? The first person she goes after is of course Django. She wants to ask Jango Fett if he can help, but Django's like, I don't give a rip about what's going on, and I can find other people that pay me that will to, to do less work, or pay me more to do less work. So of course he rejects it.
Hmm. Did
So
did you say
then
that
Deca,
Gardula's in the Clone Wars? I'm sorry. Did you say Gardula's in Dave Filoni's Clone Wars? I don't remember that.
yeah, she is.
Hmm.
Here, let me show you.
See, we're uncovering
She
yet
wasn't dead.
more contradictions of Dave Filoni's Clone Wars, even as we speak. I don't even remember that.
Here, I'm showing you right now. That's Gardula the Hutt.
Wow. Hmm.
It's supposed to be Gardula the Hutt. So I can't really see that there, but yeah.
So Dave Filoni hates the Bounty Hunter War, or hates the Bounty Hunter video game.
I guess so. But I'm basically writing a gang war between Gardula and Deca. But Deca, she ends up one of her slaves. Whoops, my phone is going off. One of her slaves is like, I know if you free me, I can get you into contact with a another bounty hunter who's a part of a larger group of bounty hunters, and that's Snuva. So
Hmm.
I'm planning to put him in that. But what's going to end up happening is Snuva's not going to die, but Deca will. So she kind of has to. So this
Spoilers.
takes
Well,
place. It takes place basically shortly after we see Deca in Jedi Quest. It takes place in that time frame.
I got you. Hmm. Interesting.
So
I'm not much for fan fiction, but if I were to write a story, I think it would be Thal Jobin from the Droids. I don't know how you'd do that. I guess you'd have to put a pod race like later on in the timeline, but you could put like Zevulon Dac Speeder Corporation creates a new pod racer that's the fastest ever. I think that would be a good story.
yeah, I think Marcel he was doing I don't remember his name. Ben Quadramos or
Oh,
something.
Ben Quadraneros.
Quadranos?
Yeah,
Quadraneros.
yeah.
That's who he's doing. And then um Ken Palpatine, he's doing Saboba. Titus is doing I don't remember, I think Brennan's doing Quinlan Voss. And then Titus is doing Aura Singh. I don't remember that. Let me look at the list. We're on a Discord. We're on a Discord
Do you have to write your
chat.
story in the prequel era, or can it be anytime?
Um he's kind of been flip-flopping on the rules. The rules, it does not need to take place during the pod race, but should be mentioned slash impacted by it, unless taking place beforehand should lead to it in some way. That's kind of what I have to figure that out. How am I going to include the pod race in this? Because so far the story has nothing to do with the pod race. It has Gardula in it. It's a story about Gardula, but there's nothing about it. So
But isn't
maybe
it, isn't
I'll
there a
write in
pod
there.
race in Jedi Quest? I thought it was related to that.
And no, it has to be the Boon to Eve because technically the story, the book, it's not really gonna be. I mean, we're gonna have. I'm by the time it's over, or by the time we're finished with it, I'm gonna print me a copy of it. But we're calling it Tales from the Boon to Eve Classic. So it's specifically the one from episode 1.
I got you. Yeah.
So,
Well,
but let me look.
there's
I don't.
a lot of
Sorry.
possibilities. You could go with the Pod Racer video game, where I think Sebulba has Anakin's Pod Racer. He ends up with Anakin's Pod Racer after.
Wait, what?
So there's episode 1 Racer, and then there's a sequel, Racer Revenge, and I believe in that
Yeah.
one, Sebulba actually uses Anakin's Pod Racer because Anakin's not in that one, right? He doesn't pod
Right.
race after he goes to the Jedi Temple. So you could do a story with that. But I guess it would have to somehow impact, like you said, the Boon to Eve Classic. You could also do like other races, stories about other races in the video game. Like there's a Uvu 4 track. There's some really wild tracks. You could have a lot of lore connected to it. There's an ice planet, I think, and one of the monks. I forget what they're called. I think they're in Supernatural Encounters. But
Gotcha.
yeah, a lot of possibilities with that.
So here's some of the people that are in it. So Hand of Thrawn 45 is writing a story in it. Granny is writing Gasgano's Tale. Brennan's not doing Quinlan Voss. I thought he was. He's doing Bull's Roar. I've never heard of that character. Marcel's doing Ben Quadraneros. Greyholm is doing the Tuscan. Of course, I'm doing Gardula the Hutt. Titus is doing Orsing. Tuck West is doing Quinlan Voss. Corinthia from Supernatural Encounter. She's doing a story in it too.
Wow.
So I'm pretty excited. I think it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, that sure is a great lineup. Is Rats Terrell? Is somebody doing Rats Terrell? Because he's the one that has the family. Like,
Yes.
there's a deleted scene where it's like the announcer says, "Oh, Mrs. Terrell just gave birth" or something. I think that's the one where he actually dies in the pod race, unfortunately.
Yeah, Skooma Joe is doing Rat Tyrell's story. I don't know if you know who that is.
No,
I don't know if there's any other stories that are available. I don't if you wanted to do one. I don't think there is.
no, I'm not big on fan fiction. Plus, I don't have the time. But I'm interested in
Or
the
no.
topic. I'll be curious to read them.
Yeah, this is just a fun little project that we're doing, just because we love the EU, and of course Ken is the one who started it, but
And there aren't a
or
lot of pod
this is
racing
he's kind of the
stories,
one leading this project.
right? And there aren't a lot of pod racing stories just in general. I mean, there's the comic, and then it appears in some of the books, but not really. I think it's one of those in
Yeah.
one of those Clone Wars Digest comics. There's something with pod racing, if I remember right. But
There is a comic that he has required us to read. Of course, I have not read it yet, called Pod Racing Tales. He wants us to read that. So in fact,
yeah.
Gardula is in that story. So well,
So
I think I'm gonna go ahead and hop off because I got some things to do. I know it's 10 o'clock, but
all right,
I'm gonna go
sounds
ahead and
good.
head out. So have a good night, Scott. Thanks for joining. I'll stream maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
All
So
right.
and thanks Marcel for joining, and everybody else who was watching that didn't chat. Thanks for joining. You have a good night.